Slamet Pagi, Kido here.
And Mio here to tell you that today we have witchcraft,
White supremacy,
potheads,
and some of the worst dubbing known to man in the Snow White anime that nobody talks about.
and despite having some of the most lackluster voice actors we've ever heard, we almost found ourselves enjoying the series.
And it's safe to say it's not the worst version of Snow White.
This is an anime series called
The Legend of Snow White.
but also a movie called
The Legend of Snow White, an animated classic.
and sometimes
The Legend of Snow White, Richard of Albertville.
we'll jump in and go over the movie/series, but first, let's cover some background info.
The Legend of Snow White seems to be a Japanese-Italian collaboration. Should I do this in an Italian accent?
Why not?
Mamma mia! That retells the story of the original European fairy tale. It's also clearly inspired by the Disney version, as it takes elements of that retelling. Apart from that undeniable fact, it's incredibly hard to find any real information about it.
A spaghettia! The Wikipedia page only talks about the series, and while trying to look up the movie, multiple websites and YouTube re-uploads kept giving us different years for the movie's release. It's either 1992 or 1994. Probably. So we don't know what's going on! Not even the company that made the show's website is very helpful at all!
Konnichiwa. From what we can tell, The Legend of Snow White, Richard of Albertville, isn't an official movie, as the ending isn't even a real ending, implying that there's more to the story. The other movie, The Legend of Snow White, an animated classic, tells the majority of the story for the first 2/3 of the movie, but the very end it's all chopped up and thrown together just so they can reach the end.
Nani, for instance, characters that you've never been introduced to will just show up without explanation, standing there, menacingly.
So it seems the anime is the only way to get the full story. Unfortunately for us, the anime is 52 episodes long.
That's 19 hours of watch time!
There's some other weird stuff about the series, but for right now, we gotta dive in.
Once upon a time, the setup for this anime was very close to Disney's retelling of the original fairy tale. At first, Snow White's parents are King Conrad and Queen Isabel, who rule over the Emerald Valley, and her mother is considered very beautiful, and she really wants her child to be white!
I would like to have a baby girl with a complexion as pure as snow.
What the frick, Isabel?
I used to dream that I would have a child with skin as white as snow.
Isabel!
Due to her splendid white complexion, the baby girl was named Snow White.
She gives birth to Snow White, who is indeed white, and the based Christian who is indeed white, and the based Christian villagers celebrate.
Our kingdom has a new princess! Praise God who gave us this wonderful present!
But all is not perfect, as the Queen is severely weakened. Skill issue, honestly. Snow White grows up, as children often do, and is given some pets to play with since she has no friends.
The cat is named Pocket because it fits in a pocket. The dog is named Milk because it drinks milk. Ignoring the misstep of calling a cat Pocket, why is the dog the one named Milk when there is a white cat?
Whatever, man. There's also a bird named Cuckoo, reflecting the mental state of whoever named these animals.
All four of them witness what look like dwarves, and Snow White runs back to tell her mom.
The queen is dead, but before she died, she emotionally manipulates her husband to promise to remarry so that Snow White can have a mother. But as we know, that doesn't work out so well.
Spoiler, she tries to kill her later.
We all know how the story goes. Snow White grows up and gets more and more beautiful, and the mean queen starts getting meaner and queener, especially when Magic Mirror starts referencing Snow White as a comparable beauty.
But these pets were the last gifts Snow White received from her departed mother. They are good company for her.
Her mother is dead.
People even start complimenting her beauty, and considering she's like, I don't know, 10, 12 or something, certain dubs have dialogue that may put the person who said those words on some kind of list.
She is delicate and young like the flowers. She is still a child, but her charm is irresistible. The charm of innocence.
I guess that's how you know it's a Japanese collaboration.
Oh! You can't say that, Kido. King casually agrees to help another kingdom out with a little war and leaves the queen in charge.
Turns out that's a big mistake, as she's cold as ice to Snow White. Snow White misses her dead mother and absent father, and so hangs her out in the forest with her stupid little pets. There, she meets the young Prince Richard, and they fall in love while jigging around the forest. Well, jigging in there. But the queen gets more bad news in the mirror and refuses to let the princess leave the castle ever again. She does it anyway.
The most beautiful in the entire kingdom is Princess Snow White. Nobody can compare with her and her splendid looks.
No, it is impossible.
I am the most beautiful. I must get rid of that girl, Snow White, as soon as possible.
There are a couple of episodes of Snow White being harassed by the queen, and then the prince reveals that he has to leave for a year or two so that he can train to be a good king in the future. This will sadly leave Snow White all alone.
Now we're about 80 minutes into the show. So in episode 5, the queen plans an assassination of Snow White by hiring Samson the huntsman to kill Snow White and give her heart to the queen.
I think you are the man I need. You have a large body, must be as strong as a lion, and your looks frighten even the most courageous.
But Snow White is just too gosh darn pure and wonderful, and he can't bring himself to slay the girl because she reminds him of his daughter who was killed by a bear. Holy moly, that's dark.
Princess!
Samson tells Snow to run!
Princess! Run away! Quick! Run away, Princess! Do as I tell you! Run away! Princess, run away from here, quickly! Believe me, go as far as you can and never return to the castle. I'll say it again, leave, Princess! Run, Snow White! And never come back!
And she runs, I guess, or whatever you call that. The next episode is dedicated to Snow running around in the forest and finally finding the dwarf home.
She eats that food, and unlike the Disney version where she cleans the house, she just says, "I'ma do it later," and goes right to bed. How rude!
I know. We'll clean the house and surprise them. Then maybe they'll let me stay.
I'ma get lazy.
The dwarves arrive at night, and
Jolly! I hate him! I hate him so much! He's so freaking annoying! I despise everything about him! But we can only say that because later in the series, he becomes predictably irritating. Plus, his voice actor isn't helping much.
After all, what would a thief come all the way here for in the middle of the deep forest? A monster! Help! Help me! It's a monster!
in fact, let's take a quick moment to talk about the voice acting in this series. It's bad. Some of the worst I've ever heard.
It's not even the voices themselves that are inherently bad. It's just some of the voice actors don't even seem like they're trying. Molly and the Queen being prime examples.
Princess, where are you, my dear? Answer. Oh, Snow White, you scared me. Oh, please, Princess, wait. Princess, behave. Where did you go? Where are you?
Whoever dares try to compete with me will be sent straight to hell, just as I did with that poor little brat Snow White.
And while Jolly does get pretty annoying in the series later on, some of that is just because of the script.
This is not fair! Why is Snow White constantly thinking of Richard and never of me? It's not fair!
However, the absolute worst voice acting job belongs to the freaking cat. Anyway, the dwarves arrive and find Snow White. Yada yada, she gets to stay with them for now.
We won't get into it, but the series adds like 2 or 3 extra unnecessary steps to this process of them warming up to her. But soon enough, they're absolutely gushing and in love with Snow White, to the point that their dialogue is pretty dang repetitive and boring because all they do is say, "Oh, Snow White, she's cute, she's so beautiful, she's so great,
she's wonderful,
she's wonderful, I love her."
Princess, since you've arrived, a piece of the sun has entered our cottage. What would we ever do without you?
Pathetic.
Also, dwarves don't have the same names as the OG Snow White. No, 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 no!
That would be copyright infringement. Instead, their names and following jobs are Boss the Chief,
Gourmet the Cook,
Woody who does wood stuff,
Camille the Pothead and Herb Expert.
Wait just a minute.
You drive me crazy with your medicinal herbs.
We mellow out, man.
Vet the Animal Keeper,
Goldie who does something,
and last and certainly least, Jolly who does nothing.
Later, Snow White's pets arrive along with Samson, though Samson can't stay because what are gonna do? He just can't.
But despite all this disgusting joy and happiness, Snow White still misses Richard. So Chamomile, Goldie, and Jolly decide to go to the castle and try to get Richard's letter to Snow. But this doesn't go super well.
Stop! You!
I must not let him catch me! No way!
Look what I do to it.
The letter is right there, but we can't take it.
Intruder is in my room. Find him and catch him immediately. Stop and execute them immediately. They entered my room with God knows what nasty plans.
This is a situation I never thought I'd live to see. This is great. What do you think of this idea?
In the end, they manage to get the letter to Snow White, but the Queen learns that Snow White is alive and proceeds to plot a pernicious plan to place the poor princess in purgatory. Mind you, this is all Snow White's fault.
And now this rare flower that blossoms every 1,000 years in occasion of demon's birth. And finally, 5 poisonous mushrooms.
Well, the Queen is busy cooking up some evil spells. There's a subplot about Jolly being a whiny little fish because he's jealous of Snow White liking Richard.
I would like to know what Richard is like.
I would like to know, too.
He's a great person, very polite. He's always ready to serve and has the face of an angel. He rides very well and just like Vet, becomes fast friends with any animal. They see him and like him.
Right.
Listen carefully. If you have something to say to me, do it now. You are not being nice at all. It's not like you, Jolly.
Who are you to be talking to me like that?
Then do as you wish, you little fool.
The Queen then sends her bat to drop off the ribbon that's actually a snake, and Snow White unwittingly falls into the Queen's trap and gets bitten.
In an attempt to save her, the dwarves look at the Book of Life, but seemingly to no avail. Boss then leaves the dwarves because everyone is currently in boo-hoo mode and goes to the Forest of Trees of Life, or something like that.
That's right. Boss is going to chop down his own tree to hopefully save Snow White. The dwarves try to run and stop him, but it's too dang late. They didn't even revive Snow White, so now they have 2 dead bodies on their hands.
Double trouble! But because they took Boss's tree and turned it into a book cover for the Book of Life, both Snow and Boss are revived. Sure.
Snow White is talking to me! She's alive!
Snow White is alive! Snow White is alive!
Snow White is alive!
Snow White's alive!
Snow White is alive!
Everything is as it should be. Peace and joy have returned to the dwarf's little family. The sun goes down, and it is time to go back home.
Well, after all that excitement, I can't wait to see what happens next.
But, thanks to Snow White's friend Boss and the other dwarves, the princess is brought back to life.
Yes, and that's why we're going on a picnic.
And thanks to you, we got all the food put together very quickly.
They're gonna make Boss so dizzy he's bound to fall down.
Don't use up too much energy. Save some for the contest.
What? They changed the entire voice cast out of nowhere.
Wait just a minute.
You drive me crazy with your medicinal herbs.
I told you that we had to turn left and not right.
I did turn left, but we're back at the same place anyway.
And you might be thinking, oh, the series must be coming to a close soon, or at least it must be close to halfway through.
And you would be wrong. Bang, bang, you're dead. Wrong, that is. We're only on episode 15, and that's not even 1/3 the way through the series yet.
Aye, as the series continues, they encounter an ice queen whose true wish is to become a rainbow.
Snow White gets turned into a rabbit.
Jolly becomes a father.
And the forest turns to stone.
But unfortunately, all this will have to wait until a later video. We actually had a lot of fun covering this anime so far, so if you enjoyed it too, please consider drop-kicking that like button.
And perhaps German suplexing the subscribe button. And turn on notifications as a Transformer video that we've been planning for a while is in fact on the way. And if the Snow White video does well, we'll cover more of the series in the future, along with some other funky anime and cartoons.
But until next time, check out this video over here.
Or perhaps this video over here.
Until we see you in the next one, he's Keto.
And he's Mia.
And we hope that you have a blessed day. Bye!
I hate it so